Turn up sound in here, please.
Okay, so first of all, welcome everyone. This is a special session with our guest speaker, Bob Proctor. And if you're here, you're up for a treat. Bob Proctor is the person that by far has changed my life and helped me create all these beautiful results around income and lifestyle that I've been sharing this entire week. And we are now, Bob, in a mindset and strategies training for 6 and 7 figures, working smarter. And what I would love to do is, first of all, thank you so much for being here, taking the time to be here with us on your busy schedule. And I would love to ask you a couple of questions about your own journey and your best recommendations for our participants. What is necessary to hit 6 and 7 figures while working smarter and living the lifestyle you want? So I'm going to
if a person wants to take their income way up and then keep it up, they need help. And what you want to do is find somebody that's earning that kind of money and then do exactly what they tell you. I was very fortunate. In 1961, I met a man and he gave me this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Then he told me, he said, if you'll do exactly what I tell you, until you find out I'm lying or that I don't know what I'm talking about, he said, I'll show you how to get anything you want. I didn't believe that. But it was a bit of a strange thing. I believed he believed it. And something inside me told me, follow him, do what he tells you. And I have followed that throughout my life. I've had 6 or 7 different coaches, and I've always done exactly what they suggested. And I would recommend anyone that is being coached by you, that they do exactly what you tell them. You see, it makes sense. If you are going to learn how to fly a plane, and you're in a cockpit with another person, and the other person's a trained pilot, you'd do exactly what they tell you, wouldn't you? If you were given the controls and then said, do exactly what the pilot's telling you, you would want to make certain you understood what he said and understood and down. You would do exactly what they said because your life depends on it. Well, it may not be so obvious just in general in life, but by the same token, if we will do exactly what our mentors or coaches teach us, we're going to be very successful. Now, I went from earning $4,000 a year and being in debt $6,000, worth millions today, that has a company that operates all over the world. That is really by following the direction of people that knew more than I did.
Thank you so much, Bob. And what you mentioned, there was something that you said. You said that something inside of you told you to follow the mentor's instructions. And throughout these 5 days, I was sharing about the importance of following your intuition rather than your logic. Can you share a little bit about that when it comes to earning high figures?
Well, your intuition is it's a higher faculty that belongs with us. We have perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. And they're what separates us from all the rest of the animal kingdom. All of the other little creatures on the planet are complete at home in their environment. They blend in. They operate by instinct, which is perfect. We had instinct removed and these higher faculties put in their place. Now, where all the other little creatures are completely at home in their environment, we're totally disoriented in ours. And that's because we've been given the ability to create our own environment. Now, when a person understands that, they build the kind of life they want to live. And it's a pretty nice place. Because that's what I've been doing now for the past 50 years.
I love it. And can you tell us a little bit about the concept of 95% mindset, 5% strategies when it comes to earning 10 or 100,000 per month, where most entrepreneurs are used to placing their focus on strategies? Can you share with us how important this is? Why is it important?
Well, it's vitally important. All you have to do is take a look at the results. There's only 5, 6, 7% of the population that really win. And the rest of them are struggling. It's not that they lose, it's just that they don't win. And they're struggling all the way through life. They've got excellent education. They've gone to school, they get a master's in business administration, but they're not winning. And they don't know why. And it's the mindset. See, whatever is happening in here is happening outside. When you build images in your mind and you focus on them, it has to happen. For example, when President John Kennedy asked Dr. von Braun, who's the father of the space program, he asked him what it would take to build a rocket that would carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth. He said the will to do it. The will is that faculty that gives us the ability to hold the image on the screen of our mind of what we want to do with our business. That's the way it works. You know, Evan, in 1973, I took my pen and I said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. I had no one working with me. I was the only person in that company. In March or May of this year, it was in May of this year, our company went into every country in the world. We were doing a launch. We had 93,000 people on the call. It's a call like this. We had 93,000 people on it. We operate all over the world. And if anybody takes the tools that you've got, the thinking into results, the lead the field programs, and they will study those programs at your direction, they'll definitely multiply their income and they'll become so much more effective at whatever they're doing.
Thank you so much. I have a question with regards to the difference between growing our awareness versus knowledge and technical skills. What would you say? Can you explain a little bit about what awareness is and why is it important for someone who wants to multiply their income and have more life, more work-life balance, to grow their awareness?
Do you want to repeat that, please?
Sure. So I would love to just, most of us think that we need more knowledge, right? Most of us think that we need to gather more knowledge and then become more successful. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's pretty common. You'll often hear people say they're going back to school. And they're going to go back to school. They really believe that they need more knowledge. The truth is, they're not doing what they already know how to do. The knowledge is all accumulating in the conscious mind. The paradigm is in the subconscious mind, and it's controlling them. Now, I don't know, can we put up this pad, Tommy? Hold on a second. I don't know if we can do that or not. Will the pad go up?
We'll have to get it screen shared, Bob.
Okay, hold on. No. You want to fix this, Dan? So we bring the screen up. Evan, I'll leave it. We won't bother. That's not going to work. Find that. Let it go. There's if people would do what they already know how to do, they'd be way ahead of the game. Paradigms stop them from doing that. We have a program in our subconscious mind, and that program controls our habitual behavior, and almost all of our behavior is habitual. The beautiful part of what you're doing with your clients and what these programs the company puts out will do, they change the paradigm. The paradigm's in the subconscious mind. The knowledge that we gain in school is in the conscious mind. If anyone that can hear my voice would ask themselves a question, are you doing as well as you know how to do? The answer would be no. People are not doing as well as they know how to do. The doing is a program. It's a problem. And they've got to learn to overcome that. And that's what we teach them. Now, unfortunately, you can't teach it here in just a few minutes, but on the programs that you're going through, you show people how to do that. And that's where they make the big breakthrough. See, think of it this way. A person doesn't earn $100,000 a year because they want $100 a year. They earn $100 a year because they're not aware of how to earn $100,000 a month. Now, there's people earning $100,000 a month. How are they doing that? They're aware of how to do it. I've watched my own life change in leaps and bounds over the past 50 years. It's quite amazing how it happens. And unfortunately, I think the world's locked into the intellect. But you'll find people, I have 2 months high school. I have no formal education to speak of at all. But I have an excellent income. I have an excellent company that operates globally. I didn't get that from school. I got it from creating the awareness in my own mind of how to do it. And then I go out and do it. It's quite a difference.
I love it. And my favorite topic, decision making, Bob. You are so good at explaining this to our participants. So yesterday we invited our participants to join Thinking into Results, and quite a few of them joined and quite a few are still considering. And I would love for you to explain a little bit about the importance of making the decision from the right frequency and how to overcome the battle in the mind that's happening in the moment and do the right thing.
Well, unfortunately, we grow up and we're never taught how to make decisions. School does not teach us how to make decisions. Napoleon Hill wrote an entire chapter on decision. In fact, it's one of the longest chapters in the book. When I learned how to make decisions, my whole life changed. Andrew Carnegie asked Napoleon Hill a question. Andrew Carnegie in 1908 was the wealthiest man in the world. And Napoleon Hill was a young reporter for a magazine. They were going to write an article on wealthy people. Hill got the opportunity to go and interview Carnegie, who was the wealthiest man in the world at the time. And he said, after a period of time, they were together for about 3 days. Because aside from Hill interviewing Carnegie, Carnegie wanted to interview Hill. He had been looking for someone to write the laws of achievement. He said he thought it was an absolute crime. People like himself, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, they were going to their grave with all the knowledge they had locked up in them. No way of passing it on to the next generation. And he said, he said to Hill, I'm going to ask you a question. Now, what he didn't tell him, he was giving him 60 seconds to answer the question. He had a stopwatch in his hand under the desk. And he said, would you dedicate the rest of your life to an idea for which you would probably receive no material compensation for at least 20 years? And in 29 seconds, Hill said, yes, I will. Hill had learned a lesson that most people never learn. I learned it as a very young man. I was very fortunate. If it takes you longer than 10 seconds to answer a question, it isn't you that's answering the question. It's the paradigm. It's the program that's controlling your life. Most people grow up where their parents make decisions for them right up until the time the kid leaves home. And when she or he leaves home, they go off on their own, then they've got to start making decisions, and they don't know how to do it. There's only one prerequisite for making a decision. Do you want to? So if there's people that you presented this to, they have one prerequisite, just one. Do you want to? Now stop and think for a moment. This is a program that has the potential and has on thousands of occasions multiplied a person's income. Now, it's not that the program multiplies the income, the person does as they start to learn more about themselves, as they start to learn how to make decisions. We're not taught how to make decisions, and so we go through life struggling. How many times have you had people ask you, what do you think I should do? They're doing it all the time. And that is because they don't have a decision. They don't have an answer to the question. So I would recommend anybody that listened to your presentation, I think they should get in the program. Because there's people that are multiplying their income that have us coaching now. This woman has been with us. How long have you been with us as a company? You are one of the first people.
Yeah.
Pardon?
February 2014. Long time.
Well,
6 years.
14, that's 7 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know you were one of the very first in Europe. You have done an extraordinary job. And of course, your clients are the ones to prove that. They've multiplied their income. They're doing all kinds of things that they always wanted to do. And now they're doing them and they love it. And that's what I would recommend. Anyone that was there yesterday and you're still thinking about it, and don't let money stop you. That is the big stumbling block for people. They say, well, I can't afford it. You will always find the money for whatever you want. If you look around, there's all kinds of things in the room that you're in. most of which you do not need. You've got them because you want them. I look at the furniture we've got here in the studio. We don't need it all. We got it because we want it. But when you really want to change the course of your life, you want to multiply your income, you want to start working at what you really love doing, you'll say yes. And Eva will be coaching you.
Thank you, Bob. We've been receiving quite a lot of questions with regards to, I want this, but let's say my spouse doesn't resonate with what I want to do. Can you share what you would do in that situation?
I can share what I would do. I would do it.
Yeah.
You see, when a couple get together, it's not an ownership, it's a relationship. And your partner should support you in all you do, in whatever you want to do. So it's not a matter that, well, I'd rather ask my partner. No. You don't have to ask anybody to do what you want to do. That's freedom. And that's what you want to have.
Love it. Love it. And one more question that comes to mind, which is, tell us a little bit about the importance of being on the right frequency, and what does one have to do to stay on the frequency to actually attract ideas for 6 and 7 figures if maybe the entire life they were stuck in corporate world or just overworked in their business?
Well, think of this. We live in an electronic universe. Here's my phone. Now, I've got your number in here, and if I want to phone you, I just pull your number up and hit send. Whereabouts are you right now?
In Poland, actually.
You're in Poland, and I'm in Toronto, in Canada. But here we are looking at each other and communicating. We are on the same frequency. That's why we can communicate the way we're communicating. Now, it doesn't matter where you are. If you've got your phone and I hit send, your phone's going to ring. And I can start talking to you. If I put it on FaceTime, we can look at each other and talk like we are right now. Now we're on a program called Zoom. But we go on FaceTime on our phone. And that is because we're on the same frequency. Well, think of this for a moment. Put it in the wrong pocket. There. We call this money. It's actually energy. This is paper. It's what the paper represents that's important. That represents money. Now, money operates on a certain frequency. Some people never get on that frequency and they're always broke. There's others that get on it and they go way up and then they go way down. And that is because they've never learned how to get on the frequency they want and stay on it. It's like, I always mention when John Kennedy asked Dr. Werner von Braun what it would take to build a rocket that'll carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth, he said the will to do it. Because the will is the mental faculty that gives us the ability to hold one idea on the screen of the mind. Well, when you hold the idea for money on the screen of your mind, you're going to attract it. That's the way it operates. There's no secret to this. All science and all science understand this. Your brain is an electronic switching station. As you think you activate brain cells, it changes the vibration your body's in. When you're choosing very positive pictures, you're activating the positive cells in your brain. Now, every cell has a positive and a negative pole. If you think something very negative, you'll get those same cells activated, but the negative side of them. And I don't think we want that to happen. We want to stay in a positive frequency. Well, you can stay in a positive frequency, and you can attract into your life whatever you want. All you have to do is get in harmonious vibration with it. This is not some, well, I was going to say it's not a secret. It is a secret for most people. But it doesn't have to be, because that's exactly what you're teaching, Eva.
And a frequent question that we receive is, our participants tend to do a lot of self-study. And I always say self-study is not necessarily sufficient to change paradigm, because we tend to do self-study and we don't see that much results. Can you share about the difference of actually having mentor, having masterminds to support our participants in changing paradigm versus doing it yourself?
Well, you see, one of the great things about masterminding and mentoring is that perception is one of our higher faculties. Our perception is how we see the world and everything in it. When you look at the conditions and circumstance in your life, if you shift your perception, you will change those conditions and circumstance. Now you'll find someone who's struggling all by themselves, trying to change things. And they don't seem that they're able to do it. If they're in a mastermind, they're bringing someone else in and bringing their perception of the situation. That's what changes the whole game. And you'll find that your life can change dramatically, and you can multiply your income, multiply the speed you're moving at towards your goal. It's an interesting concept, Evan, and it's one that most people don't understand.
I remember you saying a long time ago that if you have a mentor, you save yourself 10 years of working on your own. Would you agree?
Oh, yes. Then, in fact, probably a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, I started with a mentor in 1961. I was 26 years old. I'm 87 today. And my life has changed so dramatically, but not only has my life changed, I've gone on to change the lives of millions of other people. Now, I didn't change their life, they changed their life. But I gave them the information they needed to transform their life.
I love it. And my final question, Bob. So we have quite a few participants that are right now looking into thinking into results. And I just would love to ask you a little bit about the value of this investment. What would you say the worth of investing in thinking into results is for them right now?
Oh, I really couldn't put a value on it, to tell you the truth. It's stop and think of what it's been to you over the last 7 years, Eva.
Millions. Yeah. Not just money.
Your life has changed. Your life has changed so dramatically, and it continues to change. Listen, I would just recommend, think of it this way. Our company has been in business since 1966. I went to work with the Nightingale Cognac Corporation at that time. And I stayed there for 5 years. That was like getting a master's in this subject. And then I went out on my own and I started this company. And that's when I said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world, and we do. We have an excellent reputation globally, all over the world, with some of the largest companies in the world. And that doesn't happen by accident, Eva. So when people are looking, should I get involved with Eva? Well, ask yourself, if she's part of a company that's been in business since 1966, helped millions of people, worked with some of the largest corporations in the world, yeah, I think it would probably be a pretty good idea. Every person that I have studied, I've studied a lot of biographies. Mm-hmm. And everyone that I've studied, Eva, where the person has done exceptionally well, they have had a coach or a mentor. They've had someone that was guiding them. You are an excellent coach.
Thank you.
Now, I say that because I've watched your production over 7 years. We have 4,000 people worldwide, and you're in the top 4 or 5%. There's no one that can do it better than you. There's a lot of people doing it equally as well, but no one can do it better. So if somebody's looking at this and they seriously want to change the course of their life, they want to change their income, they want to start doing what they really want to do. Life is very short and then it's all over. Think of this for a moment. Let the sand in this glass represent your life. The sand in the bottom of the glass represents the past. The sand in the top of the glass represents the future. There's nothing you can do about the sand in the bottom of the glass. There's a lot you can do with sand in the top. If you realize that right now is all you've got. Now, when I was a little boy, I was pretty well raised by my grandmother, Evan. And Grandma was always saying, I'll soon be gone, dear, I'll soon be gone. Grandma thought she was running out of sand. She was probably 60 when I started to hear her say that. Grandma lived until she was 94. Now, I had a chum, Bob Yates. He and I were very good friends, did everything together. He got his driver's license a little ahead of me. He was coming in the Kingston Road Highway in Toronto. He run into the abutment of a bridge and his life was snuffed out. 16 years old. If you had asked him a half an hour before that how much sand he had left in the top of his glass, he would have said at least a half a century. He didn't have a half an hour. Here's Grandma at 64 thinking she'd soon be gone. She lived to be 94. The point is this. All you've got is what's right here, right now. And it's the decisions you make right now that are going to dictate what your life's going to be like in the future. Eva has been helping people with this material for 7 years. She does an absolutely outstanding job. I would recommend that if you're looking at this, you just bang, make a decision and do it. Don't ask anybody else what they think you should do. Ask yourself, do you want to improve the quality of your life? And the answer is going to be yes. This is how you do it.
Thank you, Bob. It's been such a privilege to have you here with us. And I do believe we've helped quite a few of our participants to make a decision. So thank you for your time. And I am just so thrilled to be mentored by you and to have you here with us. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, Evan. And I wish you continued success in the future.
Thank you
The
so
people
much.
that are joining your program are in for a real treat. They're going to do very well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eva.